You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. Raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. And it's Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, all wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an eye. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Devin. I'm excited to be here tonight. Got a good show for you guys. Got somebody else, a new co-host for the moment, joining the show. Ian's going to be joining us here shortly, but I want to get this housekeeping out of the way. You guys already know what to do. Appreciate you guys showing up every single night like y'all do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for us. We got a jam-packed show planned for you guys tonight. We're going to go over the transfer portal additions that Ohio State has. Like I told you guys yesterday, going to get them a rating from 1 to 10, 10 being huge pickups, super successful pickups, 1 being not so much. So some of those will be able to grade real good, some not so much. A lot of season left to play, some with multiple years of eligibility. Then we're going to do a little deep dive into Julian Sain and talk to you guys about him, where he's at right now, 5 games in, the trajectory that he is on in his career compared to maybe another a really good Ohio State quarterback. But without further ado, Ian, I don't know if you can hear me or not. I see you down below. I'm waiting for him to pop up on there so I can bring him on the screen. Might be having a little bit of technical difficulties. So as soon as I see him pop back in, we will do that. In the meantime, I saw in the chat there, I saw you guys talking about who our biggest competitor is this year. That's a good conversation to have. I mean, it's real easy to say, you know, the Miami and the Oregons, but I think that's what it is at this point. I'm not fully bought into the Miami stuff yet. I'm not bought into that Miami hype yet. It's a long season. Got a long way to go. So we'll see what they do. It's about who plays the best in the playoffs, right? And I am convinced that in order for your team to play their best in the playoffs at the end of the year, when they've been through so much, they're tired, they've been through things they didn't expect to go through, and tensions are a little bit high. I think the playoff time is when the culture of your team really comes into play. So we'll see. I think that's why Ohio State, I know that's why Ohio State dominated in the playoffs last year, because of the culture that Ryan Day has built there. But I'm going to try to pull Ian up and see if we can't see him yet. Dude, that's so weird. Ian, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. Good evening, Buckeye Nation.
Yeah, I was looking at down below. The screen was black down below, so I didn't know if you were on there or not. But when I brought you up, you showed up. So, dude, excited to have you join the show again. Excited to dive into some things with you. You excited, man? You excited to dive into these topics tonight?
Absolutely, Dev. I'm ready to get to it. I'm excited to be here. I want to, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. Nothing more that I love to do than talk ball, talk about the Buckeyes, and spend my evening with Buckeye Nation. So, without further ado, man, I'm hoping I'm a good addition to the team, and I'm ready to get started.
Yeah, for sure, man. I got to ask you this. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this first, but dude, I need a little bit of history. How did you become a Buckeye fan, bro? I want to know that before we dive into this. I should have told you I was going to ask you that before, but shoot, bro, we chilling on here. So why
Absolutely.
Buckeyes? Why Ohio State? Tell us.
Yeah, man. So, Dev, I was born in Columbus, Ohio, in 1987. My whole family is a family of Buckeyes. I got it honest, as they would say, right? I'm from the south side of Columbus, right off of 104, in a place called Southfield. And I spent my youth playing for the South Columbus Athletic Association, Little Buckeyes, as they would say. So, I did that all the way up until high school, where I went and played basketball and football at Marion Franklin. But we had all the Buckeye traditions, obviously the colors. We had the Buckeye stickers. I still have my helmet from when I was in the Little League. We got a chance to play in the old Horseshoe. Well, we played at Cooper Stadium. And so, man, I just always been infatuated with the team. My first memory is from the '96 Rose Bowl when David Boston caught the pass from Joe Germain.
Yeah.
That's my first memory, my first great memory, right? We had
Yeah.
struggled to get to the Rose Bowl all those years. I remember the Eddie George years. And I remember the worst memory I have is the 63 to, I think, 3 game against Penn State with Joey Galloway and those guys, man. And they had
Ooh.
Keyjana Carter and Kerry Collins. So I got
Yep.
a lot of memories. And yeah, man, I'm excited. I bleed scarlet and gray, man, honestly. And as you see on my shirt, it says "Only Hustlers in Ohio." This is a local brand. We're a city, a state, a nation full of hustlers. We go getters. And again, man, I'm excited to join the team, brother. I really appreciate the
Yeah.
opportunity.
I love it, man. Yeah. Buckeye, born and raised in the blood. I love it, man. That's a lot of passion behind it when it comes that way. But hey, man, this transfer portal thing, it's changed the game. Okay, it's given teams the opportunity to go out and pick up players where there are misses in the recruiting classes. And we follow the Buckeyes enough to know that there have been some misses. Sometimes it's not necessarily misses, but the transfer portal can be a blessing and it can be a curse, right? Your players can leave. We've had some players leave. We haven't had any players leave Ohio State that we projected to be starters or huge impact players, which I think is not talked about enough and a huge part of why this Buckeye program is successful.
Right.
But this year in particular, the Buckeyes needed to go get some help, right? They got some help on the defensive line. They got some help on the offensive line. They went in, they got a long snapper, they got a kicker, they got all kinds of pieces. And there's different uses for the transfer portal. You can go in the transfer portal to address an immediate need, and you can also go in the transfer portal to address a need that might come down the road, right? A couple years down the road, because all these players we're talking about, we're going to talk about through these 5 games. Some of these players we haven't seen play, okay? So it's going to be hard to rank those, but the main reason behind this is let's talk about the players that we expected to come in and make immediate impacts and what those players are doing right now. There's obviously, we know, some success stories and some not so good success stories. So let me get this pulled up here. We're going to go ahead and start with Justice Terry, right? The transfer from West Virginia. Where are we at here? Yeah, that's where we're starting. So just to let you guys know, we're skipping Grant Mills, Eric Brickhandler, Jackson Corvell. Let's start with Justice Terry. Offensive tackle, 6'5", 338 pounds. Ohio native, Ohio boy. Ended up signing with West Virginia, but the Buckeyes went and picked him up. That was kind of a surprise one. I really didn't expect the Buckeyes to go in and pick him up, but I'll be honest with you. When they picked him up, I looked at his size and I automatically assumed the dude's going to be a guard, right? Well, he's not a guard. The dude is our backup right tackle right now. And we watched him actually this last game with the second string offensive line come in. What'd they do? They marched right down the field. But the best thing about Justice Terry, there's a lot of things that I really like about him, but he's got multiple years of eligibility. So he's not one of these transfer portal players that we expected to come in and make an immediate impact. We didn't need him to, right? We didn't need him. We already had other players we picked up in the portal to fill that void. So he's just kind of one where Justin Fry had missed in some of his classes just on numbers. So Coach Bowen wanted more numbers. He went out and got it. And it seemed like we got a winner here, right? But because he's not making immediate impact, he's going to get a 7 out of 10 for me. But he'll be back next year, and I think he's going to be a contributor to this team at some point in time when he's here. So when you come in as a transfer and you're already second team offensive line, that's a success for me. I like the projection for Justice Terry in this program. What are your thoughts, Ian?
Yeah, so interesting story, Dev. My little brother is a graduate of Pickerington High School this past year in the 2025 class, and he went to school with Justice. And so
Ah,
I mean, he's a multi-sport athlete. My brother knows him pretty well, played basketball with him, very nimble kid, very athletic, can dunk easy. Was semi-dominant in high school. We let him get away, obviously, for sheer numbers. I like his profile though, Dev. I like everything he brings to the table in terms of depth. Like you said, he jumped out on the screen to me in that drive with the second team who marched right down the field.
yeah.
And that's the drive we also saw where Peoples kind of flashed as well, right? And so,
Yep.
he's bringing an impact to that unit. I think I wouldn't even call him a project. I just think he's kind of buried behind a offensive line that's maybe in line for the Mackey. I mean, for the Joe Moore Award,
Joe Moore
right?
Award. Yeah.
He's behind some dogs up there and back there. So I think we got a good one. He's in a program. He's with Mick. He's learning behind Austin and Carson and Luke. And so, yeah, I think I would say a 7 as well. Just on sheer potential. And I mean, this guy is freaky athletic,
Yeah.
right? 6'6", like I say, multi-sport athlete at Pickerington, who is a good sports program in Ohio, borderlining on great, right? And if you remember, we got a linebacker who was a multi-sport athlete at Pickerington as well. I'm not sure if anybody has heard of him. Sonny, I think his first initial was a S, his last initial was a S, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it's kind of a good place to start, especially on the O line. I love multi-sport athletes on the O line, man.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
shows they're competitive, nasty, playing inside, used to banging, used to getting contact. So I would agree. 7 out of 10 is a good score for Justin, man.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting backstory there. I didn't know all that. That's really cool to know the multi-sport athlete stuff. And like I said, remember, guys, when we're rating these guys, we're rating them right now. Okay, so his stock is going up though, 7 out of 10 because, like Ian said, he's got some dogs in front of him. But let's move on to the next one, Bo Atkinson. I would say this was the transfer that got the most attention in this class because of the timing of the transfer in the later class, and because for some reason, I mean, I know why, but we were salivating over every defensive end that came up in the portal. Okay, and we needed help there, right? A lot of misses in recruiting recently at the defensive end position, a lot of flips on signing day, so we needed help there. Well, when he first popped up, and you watched his film from last year, he had several sacks at North Carolina last year. You go back, you watch his film, and he was a very productive player at North Carolina. And a lot of people, as you can see here, he was a 4-star in the transfer portal with a 91 rating, 6'6", 266. And a lot of people were projecting him to take a starting role, right, for the Buckeyes. A lot of people were projecting that. They were projecting he could possibly be the sack leader of this team, all that stuff. But the thing I loved about picking Bo Axton up was his versatility, his ability to go on the edge and his ability to go on the interior of the defensive line, especially with Matt Patricia. And I knew what he was doing in practice with these odd fronts and different fronts. I knew Bo Axton would be a good addition to this team. He is not a starter, but when he comes in, there is not a drop off. There isn't. He keeps getting better. To go from North Carolina to Ohio State, there's going to take some adjustment periods to happen. And remember, he came in super late. He didn't have a lot of time to get ingrained into this program. So the fact that he came in that late and he's contributing the amount that he is right now, he's the first defensive end off the bench, okay? Kenyatta Jackson went down. Bo Atkinson is the one who replaced him. So he's number 3, right? So that's saying a lot. But kind of like the offensive line with Justice Terry, a little bit, they're way different situations, to be honest with you. But the reason why I bring that up is because there's dogs in front of him. Caden Curry, enough said, don't need to say anything. If you watch Ohio State football, you know about Caden Curry. Kenyatta Jackson, which I really want to do a show on him because he's not getting enough love. The dude's elite. The dude is elite, and the dude has a higher ceiling than what even Caden Curry is playing at. But people are judging him based off sacks and all that stuff. But what Kenyatta Jackson is doing this year so far is at a way higher level than I think we even realize. But Bo Axton right now coming in, contributing the way that he is, and he is only going to get better because of how late he transferred in. I'm going to keep emphasizing that. and he's got another year of eligibility. So we can see him this year, and we're going to see him next year as well. So he's going to be a big-time contributor. Bo Axton gets a 9 out of 10 for me right now. When he comes on the field, we don't have a drop-off. There's not a lot of drop-off. We're not worried about him missing an assignment. We're not worried whether he can beat the dude off the edge. And his versatility, he is a huge impact player that we picked up in the transfer portal, and I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. Might not be as flashy as all the preseason talk, but I don't think any player ever is with Buckeye Nation. But Ian, you take over. Talk about him. I got a dog pooping on my carpet, so I'm going to grab her, take her out, put her in her cage. I'll be right back, brother.
It's all good. Nah, Buckeye Nation. So when we talk about Bo Atkinson, we have to realize, again, like Dev said, who he's behind, right? Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry. I mean, Caden Curry is getting national attention, reluctantly, right? Because it's Ohio State. We know the media is reluctant to give us our props and our flowers, but Caden Curry is getting to a point where you can't deny him. Kenyatta Jackson. I mean, he's one of those guys that when he steps off the bus, you think you're looking at an alien, right? I mean, Kenyatta Jackson has the build, he has the tools, he has the skill set. Bo Atkinson, like Dev said, is 6'6", 265. In preparation for today's show, I just went back and looked at some of his highlights last year at UNC. 13 games, 24 solo tackles, 12 of them for loss, with 7.5 sacks. ACC, we can get into the competition level in that conference, but I mean, that's a lot of sacks, right? As Buckeye Nation, we were clamoring for sacks from, 2 NFL draft picks in JTT and Jack. And so he's relentless. One move is not in his tool set. I mean, he has multiple. He gets after the quarterback, doesn't let up on a play. For me, and watching the games this year, man, he's popped off the screen when he's gotten the game. Like Dev said, the numbers aren't there just due to the depth that we have. And we all know LJ is not he's getting better with rotations, but some rotations are limited, especially in matchup games. But he got it in the Texas game and made an impact. He got it in Washington and made an impact. And at Minnesota, there's a play in particular where I think Lorenzo, the quarterback, I got the ball off. The ball was right there. He didn't get him down on the ground. I think Low Styles ended up making the tackle. But Bo Atkinson, for me, I would say 9 out of 10 as well. I think he's one of those players that as we get further along into the season, his motor and his relentlessness, right, in those matchup games, especially when we're talking about against the Oregons and the Big Ten championship possibly and on into the playoffs, he's going to be essential for us. Third down specialist, right? If we can put him in there just to rush the passer, great in stopping the run. Again, the numbers will start to show. I think his impact will start to show up in the box score. But when he's on the field, I notice him. He jumps off at the screen to me a lot. There's been some chatter around him just due to expectations, but I think Bo Atkinson has been a get for us, man. Like you don't really have backups like that. He's out of school. Usually he's starting and playing the majority of the game. Again, this is Ohio State, so we have a lot of depth, but I think we should be excited about what's to come for Bo Atkinson. So he gets a 9 out of 10 for me as well. And if you get a chance, that UNC tape it's like that. Like he can go. He can really go. And they didn't want to lose him. From what I was hearing, I mean, they tried their hardest to keep him. He met with Bill Belichick upon him taking the job, and that was one of the guys him and Mike Lombardi tried to keep. And he wanted to come play with the best, learn from the best, and he wanted to go against the best in practices. That was his reasoning for coming to Ohio State. So be excited about Bo Atkinson, Buckeye Nation.
Yeah, I love what you said, and you brought up something I think we need to realize. Number one, he was really sought after in the transfer portal. Like every team essentially wanted this cat, okay? And if he's anywhere else, he's a starter, okay? So the fact that he chose to come here, right, and knew he would have to compete for any amount of playing time that he had goes to speak to his character as well, and his ability on the field. If you don't want to hurt your feelings or anything for anybody watching this and that have said they're upset with Bo Atkinson, but I would say you're probably spoiled as a Buckeye fan at this point. We tend to do that. The Buckeyes tend to do that to us fans. They spoil us. They give us J.J. Smith and Carnell Tate as our number 2 receiver. They give us Emeka Ibuka as our number 2 receiver. we get spoiled sometimes, okay? Our expectations are up here. We expect Bo Axton to come in and get 2 sacks every game or he's a failure, okay? So that happens. I understand that, but Bo Axton is a definite success in this transfer portal class. Let's see who we got next here. CJ Donaldson. Okay, CJ Donaldson. I missed here. When I heard CJ was coming in, went and watched his film, and he was about 238 pounds as a running back at West Virginia. Okay, so wasn't utilized there as he was your short yardage back. He would grind it out, get it in. And when I heard he lost weight here, and what I was hearing out of, fall practice and stuff like that was getting me super excited. And I expected to see, just to be honest with you, a lot more production out of CJ. But definitely what I expected to see is a guaranteed 2 to 3 yards every time the dude touched the ball. Okay. And when they went down to 225, and we heard him in his interviews talk about how he's so much faster now, he feels a lot better. And again, I hate that it sounds this way, but it's just the truth. I expected way more out of CJ. That being said, we needed a veteran leader in this running back room. We had to go get a running back that played a lot of college football, and CJ was that dude. Okay, so he was able to come in, be a leader, give that, veteran presence to this room that's full of sophomores and freshmen. Okay. He's not the most talented back in the room, but he was able to come in. The coaches seem to trust him. But I think the longer this year goes on, he's going to get faded out. He's going to get faded out even more. I mean, we're seeing it before our very eyes. He was the one with the most carries, game number 1. And now he was the one with the least carries, game number 5. Okay, so Bo Jackson, James People is getting more snaps at him at this point in time. So CJ, I think I can't, because I put so high of expectations on him. That's not his fault. He is who he is. He's, go watch his film at West Virginia and watch his film this year. That's who he is. There's no drastic change in his play style other than his physical ability might be a little bit faster. But I like that he brings that veteran experience to this, and I expect him to get better too. Going from West Virginia to Ohio is very hard, but CJ gets a 5 out of 10 for me, man. He just does, because I had those expectations, right or wrong. I'm not seeing the breakaway ability. I didn't think he had that, but like I said, there's been a lot of short yardage situations where his pad level is way too high and gets knocked backwards. He doesn't fall forwards all the time, but I expect him to get better. But as of right now, I'm just keeping it 100, and I hate to do that to CJ because I love his interviews. I love who he is as a person, but strictly as a football player and what he's doing on the field, he gets a 5 out of 10. I want to remind the chat, when we bring these guys up, give us your scores out of 10. What are you guys thinking? What are you guys thinking on CJ, right? I haven't been paying attention to what you guys graded the other two, but let's start with CJ. Chat, give us your grade out of 10 for CJ. Ian, take it away.
Yeah, Dev. So, and you touched on something that's pertinent, man. Like, this isn't personal. We love every Buckeye. We love people that put blood, sweat, and tears and put pain in for us, right? This is what we do. We diehard fans. So this is not no knock on CJ, man. He's a wonderful kid. Had a freak accident scare playing at Texas where, some thought his playing career was in jeopardy. So this kid has bounced back. It's important to note with CJ, man, he started off as a tight end, right? And so his first year playing running back was 2023 at West Virginia. His best year was 2023. He had 798 yards and ended up with 11 touchdowns. Now, the Big 12, we can all get into the competition level in the Big 12, but since he's been here at Ohio State, I like him back to a quote. Any Browns fans in the chat? Chat, let me know.
They in there.
Y'all remember Leroy Hort, right? I think he played for the Browns from 92 to 90 to 95. And he said, if you draw the play up for 3 yards, I'm going to get 5, right? Mm-hmm. CJ Donaldson is the exact opposite, okay? If you draw the play up for 3 yards, CJ Donaldson is going to get 3. He just doesn't have that elusiveness, and I think, and the more and more I dig in and deep dive into his career, starting off as a tight end, you see why, right? That natural running back instinct is just not there with him.
Yep.
There's a play that stuck out to me at Washington where it was on the first drive, and if he hits the hole and puts his foot in the ground, he scores on it. He was running towards the boundary on the first drive in the game. And so I think I'm about a 5 out of 5, 5 out of 10 with CJ Donaldson as well. One of the things I do like is he is short-handed out of the backfield. He will catch the ball for you. Not really any issues with fumbling during his career, so I think that's why the coaching staff trusted him to get that start against Texas. A grown man, a senior. So I think that's why we were where we were with him starting off. I think the plan all along was to bring Bo Jackson along slowly and to kind of integrate him into the starting role. So 5 out of 5, but I trust him to not put the ball on the ground and to be shorthanded with the ball if nothing else. Right. And
Yeah.
if you noticed, they did a formation where they lined him up at fullback and handed it off to him. It was the same play that he didn't score when Nate Roberts was in that position against Washington. And so I think he's transitioning into more, like you say, of a ancillary role. But I think he'll be good to us. I think blocking wise, he's okay, right?
Yeah.
He can stand in there. I'm not sure if losing weight was the best thing for him though.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think that did him any justice, especially since he's going to run high. The pad level thing has probably always been an issue with him, and it doesn't look like it's been corrected. Even with working with our running backs coach, Coach Locke. So yeah, I'm about a 5 out of 10 with CJ Donaldson
Yeah.
as well, Dev.
Yeah, there's a little. CJ had a brief stint at tight end, but most of his career he was wide receiver. Growing up in high school, I mean, he played with all those SFE dudes. Like the SFE dudes know CJ because he played at wide receiver, and he went to West Virginia as a wide receiver, if my information is correctly. But we're along the same lines there. It's the same type of conversation still to be had there. But again, I like everything you said about him. Hard worker, good kid, doesn't turn the ball over. But we'll see. We needed that leadership. And you brought up a good point that, the plan all along could have been, hey, we see what we got in Bo. Okay,
Absolutely.
so they saw his tape. They saw his recruiting tape, and they probably knew what they had there. But let's move on to the next one here. Phillip Daniels. My dude, Phillip Daniels, the Minnesota transfer, the dude with 2 more years of eligibility left if needed. I didn't see his height and weight there. We all know his height and weight. He's 6'5". He's tackle size, right? We watched a little bit of his film at right tackle at Minnesota, and he did okay, right? He did pretty good. He was higher ranked in the portal than Ethan Onianwa, and nobody at the time agreed with that. Everybody's like, what is going on now? But Phillip Daniels, the second that he came in there, by the way, he's got relation to, who's his cousin? The star Ohio State offensive tackle, plays for the Cardinals. No, doesn't play for the Cardinals. I forget his name. I really do. I forget his name. I'll do this a lot, Ian, if you don't know. But Phillip Daniels' cousin, chat, you guys know who it is. Either way, his family produces very good tackles that have played for the one in particular that played for. Yeah, there you go, Ed. Thank you very much. Paris Johnson. He's Paris Johnson's cousin. So love it. When he came in, dude, I'm telling you, the people I talked to inside of the Woody kept telling me how mean this dude was, that they had to completely remove him from a practice at one point in time because he was going too hard, too much, getting in fights. And that was the very first report I ever got on Phillip Daniels. And in that moment, I was sold. I was like, oh yeah, I like this. I love this. That is my dream for offensive linemen. I love hearing that. And all along the way, I kept hearing, yo, dude, players were telling me. The first person that ever told me, I'm not going to say who it was, but a player on the phone said Phillip Daniels is going to take somebody's starting job on this offensive line. And I told several people, and I didn't even believe it at the time. And everybody I told definitely didn't believe it. They were like, nah, bro. They laughed me out of the gym. They laughed at me like I was crazy. And obviously it wasn't me saying these things, but obviously the player that said it knew what he was talking about. But I assumed it was going to be Tegra's job. I honestly did. I said, Phillip's taking Tegra's job. I put that out on the message board. I said it on shows. I said it all over the place. Well, with all the switch up and everything, with Austin Saraveld moving the left tackle and Phillip Daniels being at right tackle right now, I mean, dude, that's a 10 out of 10 move. That's a 10 out of 10 transfer. That's a 10 out of 10 boss move to come from Minnesota, work your way up, and be the starting right tackle at Ohio State with a loaded offensive line room that has Ian Moore, that has Ethan Onianwa, that has several other players, right, that could have been in that position, but he beat them out. So, and he keeps getting better. Every game he keeps getting better. Like, he's going to make his mistakes, but I love the mentality he plays with. And the fact that we could have him for 2 more years, this, in my opinion, obviously hindsight it makes this a lot easier to say that he is, by a good margin, in my opinion, the biggest transfer portal pickup that the Buckeyes have in this class. So I absolutely love it. Dude's a 10 out of 10 for me. Chat, Phillip Daniels, where you ranking him in? What you got?
Man, Phillip Daniels, what sealed the deal for me, Dev? Because I was on the Max Train hype, and we'll get to him. I was on the Max Train hype, right? Heavy. That Texas game, him against Colin Simmons, who posted a picture of Julian Sain on his Instagram story, who was kind of poking the bear. I mean, Colin Simmons went nuclear against Florida this past weekend, right? That kid is probably a top 15 pick. And Phillip Daniels had his way with them. I mean, he treated him like a little schoolgirl, right? Like, it was bad. You know, that tape is that's teach tape right there, what he did with Colin Simmons. So much so that Colin Simmons ripped his helmet off and was just frustrated the whole game. And so I started to really, really like keen in on him. Like, who is this kid? There was once a saying from an offensive lineman, I can't remember who, chat can look it up, but you saying that he was involved in basically every fight during camp makes sense, because the saying goes, if you want a good offensive lineman, show me one that likes to fight, because again, offensive lineman is just in a 60-minute fight for an entire game. That's what they do. You just fight in all game. And so you got to like that type of bump, right? You have to like that type of, you got to be built like that. And I think he is, man. He's a big kid. He started 4 games as a true freshman at Minnesota, which is, you know, they usually produce good offensive linemen up there, right? They usually a run-heavy team. And for him to get in there and start 4 games as a true freshman, we missed on him in the recruiting cycle, but we got him now. And I mean, how many true sophomores have started here at Ohio State?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can just go do your research, do your Googles. For him to come in here and take somebody's spot like that, I mean, that kid is, I mean, we're looking at a potential first rounder when it's all said and done. I think so. Right? He has the measurables and he has the attitude. I mean, PFF is being nice to him in terms of his performance this year. He's grading out well. So I think that was a 10 out of 10 get as well, man. I am excited. And I think, again, he brings that edge to the room. You need that type of attitude in the offensive lineman room. You really do, right? And especially, I mean, his pass protection is A1, right? Maybe can improve a little bit on the run game, but our whole offensive line can. But that kid is excellent. That was an excellent get for us, man. Underrated get at the time, but in hindsight, man, that was a 10 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, 10 out of 10 doesn't mean he's performing at a 10 out of 10 level on the field. 10 out of 10 is just the overall perspective of, number one, the price we got him at in the portal, the fact that our evaluation was better than everybody else. We saw the potential we had, like, and the fact that he has 2 more years of eligibility after this year. Those are the reasons why he gets a 10 out of 10 in this transfer portal class. But I'm very excited for Phillip Daniels and his future here at the Buckeyes. Next one, Logan George, coming from an FCS school. Big difference, right? From going to where he was playing to where he's playing now. He led, am I saying that right? Why am I having a FCS in tackles for loss? And you go watch this film, he was always dude lived in the backfield, just your gritty type of player. Doesn't really have the measurables that you're looking for, but with the depth in this defensive end room, again, I got excited about Logan George, but I never did. I didn't talk about him like I talked about CJ Donaldson. I didn't expect Logan George to come in and take anybody's starting job. I didn't expect him to come in and be like a huge impact player immediately. But I did expect to see him a little more than what we've seen him. Now, he did have an injury, which set him back. Like the first 3 games, the dude was injured. So that really set him back in this process. It makes it a really hard one to grade out here for me. But we see him, we saw him in the Minnesota game. That's the first game I remember seeing him in. I'm sure he probably got in previous to that, but I didn't see him get in previous to that. I saw him get in the Minnesota game. The dude has another year of eligibility left as well. So got a long time to go in this program, can grow exceedingly. And he's on the depth chart. I would say he's I think at this point he's behind Zion Ziggy Grady. Okay, the true freshman, but Ziggy Grady's a freak. But Logan George with again the injury and stuff, hard to grade him out, but 6 out of 10 for me in the portal pickup is what I'm going to give it. We'll see if he's able to contribute to this team a little bit more. He reminds me of Caden Curry a little bit. Physical attributes and kind of his play style. He's just a go-getter. And let me remind you that nobody expected Caden Curry to do what he's doing this year. Matter of fact, I heard people say the opposite. I heard people say, man, I hope they don't start Caden Curry at defensive end. So these are the type of players, the players like Caden Curry, that if you sleep on him, do it at your own risk because the dude's not going to stop grinding it out. That's his attitude. That's what I was told from him. The dude will not be outworked. He will not be out-efforted. That's not the right word, but I tried to make that up. Didn't go real good. But he's going to put forth the most effort every time he's on the field. 6 out of 10 for me, but a long way to go in his career. And I think he can help this team out in some way during his career. Chat, where are you ranking, Matt? Ed's tough tonight, Ian. Ed gave CJ Donaldson a 1. He's given Logan George a 4, but that's okay. That's all right. I like the honesty. So, chat, where's he at? Ian, what you got, bro?
Man, I give Logan George about a 5. And I wanted to go incomplete just because of the injury, right? Mm-hmm. But his Idaho tape is like that. I mean, like you said, he lived in the backfield. Lower level competition. I like short, feisty defensive linemen though, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like that type of profile and makeup. I think they make up for the lack of measurables with heart. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what we're getting out of Caden Curry. I think coming from the FCS, you're going to need a little more time in the program when you're at this level to contribute. Him getting on the field says a lot, and especially in the Minnesota game, right? And he's obviously worked his way back from injury. Probably spent a lot of time in the on the training table just to get himself back right. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him being in the room and then, learning getting used to the physicality and the competition level. And when it's time to take off, man, he can do the Caden Curry. I think Caden Curry is going to be a litmus test or an example for the people in that room that when it's your time to shine, man, you got to take it and grab it. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully we don't lose him after this year. But I mean, like from what I see on tape and the potential there, man, I like Logan George. I got a chance to listen to some of his interviews while he was at Idaho State. Obviously, he was a FCS All-American. But yeah, man, that I think that's going to pay dividends for us later on down the road. And hell, we might be able to see him contribute, sometime this year if it comes to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Never count out depth. And if they got recruited to Ohio State, they can play.
Yes.
Right? They can play, especially from an FCS school. That's just not, you just don't waste your time going to get someone like that. So give us some time, Buckeye Nation. But right now I'm at a 5/incomplete.
Yeah. Larry Johnson spoke very highly of Logan George. He even brought up the specific thing. A reporter asked him in an interview, do you worry about Logan George going from that level of competition to this level of competition? And Larry Johnson said, if I was worried about that, I wouldn't have recruited him here. Go watch his film. He's not going to have a problem with that. So, again, the injury really makes it hard to grade him. We have no idea where he would be at contributing if it wasn't for the injury. but a lot of football left, so we will see. Who we got left on here? Let me scroll down so I can see here. Ty Hayward, Howard, Bo Jackson's relative there. All right, Ethan Onianwa. Here we go. Ethan Onianwa, at the time we picked him up in the transfer portal, all I heard was he was the best tackle in the transfer portal. And I'm going to be honest with you, his film got me. It got me because, played at Rice. I went back and I watched the Rice versus Texas game, and he held his own. He did very well. And tricky one to grade here. And the reason why it's a tricky one to grade, I feel like I keep saying that, but, it is because of the dogs that he has in front of him. Austin Sareveld, Iron Buckeye, took a spot. That was supposed to be Ethan's spot. I thought he was a lock at left tackle. I did. That's what I assumed, and I shouldn't have assumed that. But during the offseason, didn't really hear much about him, to be honest. Didn't hear bad things. Didn't hear good things. And now we see why. It's just taken him a minute to grasp this. And this is one of the more confusing, right, portal pickups to me because we paid top dollar for him, absolute top dollar. And when Austin Sareville got the left tackle job, right, and I was like, all right, there goes that. Wonder if Ethan is going to take the right guard position. And I thought that was about to take place. I did. The first, second, third game, you saw Tegra and Ethan kind of going back and forth with snaps, a little bit heavily leaning in Tegra's favor, though. But then this last game, it wasn't Ethan. He never got one snap at right guard. He got it was Josh Padilla that got those snaps. So this is one of the more confusing ones. And the grade I'm going to give him is because of, right, he was one of the more higher rated tackles in this class. A lot of people wanted him. He demanded $1 million in the portal to come in as a starting tackle. So you come in at that and you don't find yourself a spot on this offensive line anywhere. Dang, it's so hard to grade him because, dude, the snaps that he got, for instance, I forget what game it was, but we were having trouble rushing, and he came in, and we rushed down the field and scored the second he came in, right? So really good at run blocking. I do know that. And I saw him do some couple counter plays, really agile. I like his play. I just can't quite – I don't understand this. I don't understand this because what I saw from his previous film and what I see from his film when he gets in, it's really hard to understand why he's not getting more playing time. But I'm going to trust the coaches here. And, because we paid the dude $1 million, the dude gets a 4 out of 10 for me. Taco, I'm right there with you. Matt's giving him a 6. So, Ethan, what you got? Or Ethan, dude, I'm sorry. I was my bad.
Listen,
Ian,
man,
what you got?
You can pay me $1 million to not do nothing. Call me Ethan. So, man, what's the saying, Dev? Happiness is based upon expectations, bro. And that's where I'm at with him. I was excited when we got him in the transfer portal, man. I obviously heard all the hype about him. There's a viral clip going around on Twitter and, X, whatever you want to call it, where he's kind of losing his mind and pushing all his offensive linemen in the locker room. 6'8", I mean, just a gigantic guy. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I'm still holding on to the potential of having someone that big and someone with that much hype and potential with him on our offensive line. I mean, I think he was a day 2 prospect if he would have came out this year, second round in the NFL draft. I mean, that's still there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I think, and we talked pre-show, and I likened him to Luke Montgomery, where when he finally got his opportunity, he was lights out. The only difference is Luke had multiple years left in the program, where this guy is, I mean, he's got about, 12 games at the most now with us, 13?
Yep.
Time's running out to kind of realize his potential, but not to be long-winded, I'm right there at about a 4. Again, happiness is based upon expectations, man. I expected this guy to be our stalwart left tackle, protect Julian's blind side, and climb into the first round. I mean, I had that type of high hopes for him.
Yeah.
Like the kid at Miami, I can't think of his name, Mauluga. The type of hype he's getting at, they're the same size as well. 6'8", just gigantic human beings. And I think someone with that much potential, you had to come in here and you just had to take over. And since that didn't happen, and now you're playing behind Tegra, who's been struggling for the better part of 3 years now. I mean, it's there for the taking. Tegra's putting some stuff on tape that's pretty much the same as what we saw the last couple of years. So I'm at about a 4 out of 10, man. And I'm hoping he can turn it around. We'll need him. Dev and I both agreed, man, if we rotating guards and tackles, he's going to be needed at some point. So, I mean, the hope is still there, but right now I'm at a 4, Dev.
Yeah. That's something big to remember here, okay? You hear 4 out of 10, and you're automatically assuming that we are saying he's a bad player and he can't contribute. No. If he was in Phillip Daniels' position where we didn't pay him $1 million and he didn't have this hype and such this expectation, he'd be getting a 7 out of 10 for me because I watched this film and I see what he does when he gets in. I watched what he did when he got in with the second team offensive line. They marched down the field and scored. So again, he's got dogs in front of him. Okay. He's got really good players in front of him and he's unable to get in there, but it's a long season. We saw last year, we went 10 deep on the offensive line. So I'm still convinced that he is going to contribute to this team at some point in time. So the depth on this offensive line, it's just deep, man. And it's a competitive atmosphere. And that's why we're seeing guys like Josh Padilla, Gabe Van Sickle, Austin Searville take the left tackle job, Phillip Daniels take the right tackle job, because we have players like Ethan Onianwa on our second team pressing them every single day, pressing them for that job. It keeps them, on their heels or on their toes, making sure they're playing their A game because they know, hey, we got a offensive tackle that got a second day grade for the NFL last year. And he's coming here this year in this program with these coaches and this, weight room program that we have here. So, a lot of hope still left for him, and I think he's going to contribute to this team. Gio's got some breaking news about the 2027 class. He said he's going to let me know afterwards. Yeah, I don't know yet. I'm on the show. I do have a couple missed calls, so I'm guessing that's probably what it's for. But shoot me an email, Gio. I'll shoot you an email back. Whatnot. Here we go. Who's next? Max Clare. Max Clare is the last one that we're going to talk about tonight in the transfer portal. Dude, we're not going to get to the Julian Sain stuff.
You want to jump to it now? A quick grade for Max Clare and jump to it?
It's 8:00 already. We got to be off here at 8:10. Let's do Max Clare real fast. 8 out of 10 for me. Last game, 5 receptions. He's stuck with a loaded room, a new quarterback. We saw the catches that he makes. The dude is going to get better and better and better and better. And we use 4 to 5 tight ends on this team. So don't sleep on Max Clare. The dude's an elite tight end. Ian, what you got?
I got an 8 out of 10 for Max as well. Precise route running, hands. NFL's in love with him. Second day projected pick next year. Really could play the slot like Brandon Ennis is doing if you need him to. Needs to work on his blocking, but I'm about an 8 out of 10. Check with me in November. I think he's going to be at about a 10 out of 10. I think he's coming into his own.
Yep, for sure. All right, here we go. Let's dive into it. Julian Sain, here's his passing chart in front of you. You can read it. The NFL passing grades or the quarterback rating system, passing efficiency goes up to 158.3. Look at all the boxes that Julian Sain has 158.3. Ian, take this thing home, bro.
Yeah, Buckeye Nation. As we end, I want to leave you with just something to be thankful for, man. We have got a superstar on our hands. The unparalleled, historic 5-game stretch that this kid is on. I want to start by giving you a brief backstory. Julian Sain comes from a family of athletes. His brother was a starting quarterback for Penn. His sister was a college athlete, and Julian was bred for this, right? This isn't something that's happened by accident. This isn't something that's been stumbled upon. As a kid, he went to a school where he went to school in the morning and played football in the evening. Since 6th or 7th grade, And his mom and dad asked him, "Is this something you want to do?" They didn't ask him to do it. He was pressing them to take him to this school. Upon entering high school, he started as a sophomore. His high school coach has said, "quote unquote," Julian is bred for this. He's made for this. He was the only sophomore in the history of his high school program in Carlsbad to be able to change plays at the line of scrimmage from day one. There's an article in the New York Times that was written on Julian, and you can see all this for yourself. It was published in August of this year. They give you the whole backstory. I want to get into some stats, comparing him to CJ, which is another OSU legend. CJ threw 5 games in 2021, his first year starting, 103 of 159, 68% completion percentage, 1,463 yards and 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Julian Sain through 5 games this year, 101 of 126, 85.8 completion percentage, 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. I mean, he's
That's
right
wild.
there with CJ, right? I mean, this isn't. We look back on CJ, right, and we talk about his career in an illustrious way. Julian's on that same track, if not further along, right? Some of Julian's stats right now, he's number one in the nation in completion percentage at 80%. Deep ball passing per PFF is at 98%, 12 out of 14, 500 yards and 7 TDs. He's number three in passer rating at 196, number three in yards per game, number four in touchdowns, eight in QBR, eight in total TDs, 24th in total passing yards per game, and he's only played 4.5 games. All right, set out half of the Grambling game. So we have to put in perspective what a historic 5 game stretch this is, Buckeye Nation. The media won't give him his flowers for some reason. They're kind of getting to it. Pro Football Focuses, and I'll give you his exact name. Give me 1 second while we press for time. Dalton Wasserman. He tweeted out October 4th, 2025. Either Jeremiah Smith or Julian Sain is going first overall in 2027. That's what type of talent we have. Jake Butt today said Julian Sain has no weaknesses. He said that on the Big Ten Network today, right? So the nation is starting to take notes of just who this guy is that's leading our team, Buckeye Nation. I want you guys to really put this in perspective. Like you're watching a master at work. The arm talent, the processing, the feet, the athletic ability and the pedigree, right? This isn't something, like I say, this isn't something he stumbled upon. He was made for this moment. So as you go along and as you look at some of the quarterbacks around the country, just know you got one of the ones leading the Buckeyes. We'll get more into some stats at a later show, but I just wanted to leave y'all with that. I want you to go check out that article that was written by the New York Times on him. Just read a little bit about how he was raised. A quick little story, a quick little insert in that story was his family went to Mexico. He was in 10th grade, and they took his trainer to Mexico with him. That's how locked in. That's how
Yeah.
locked in this kid is on football. They took his trainer to Mexico on family vacation, where Julian didn't want to go if his trainer didn't go with him.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're possibly looking at the number one pick in 2027. Um, and yeah, we found our next great one. So don't
Yeah.
be surprised. Don't be surprised at the things you see to come forward. This 2025 season and 2026, because he probably won't be here in 2027. So just take notes, and I'm glad he's here. Right. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt, man. You heard Ryan Day in his press conference today talk about quarterbacks, talk about great quarterbacks. And he said, man, there's just something about quarterbacks where they just won't quit. They won't give up. They make up their mind. I'm going to be a great quarterback, and nothing gets in their way. Day just said that today. And now you're listening to the backstory of Julian Sain. He made up his mind in the 6th grade that he wants to be a great quarterback. He lives and breathes quarterback from a very young age. I mean, the backstory is a beautiful thing, Ian. I'm stoked you brought that up because not enough people talk about that and understand why Julian Sain is who he is. All the hype that we heard in the offseason, all the hype that we heard when we picked him up for the transfer portal, his first year here, when Ryan Day said, I have never seen a quarterback process information this fast. That's all we were hearing about. Some people were saying, hey, is he going to take Will Howard's job? I never thought that was happening. Will Howard was an absolutely phenomenal quarterback, won us a national title. But the fact that could be brought up and that could be a conversation from a freshman quarterback who was 6'1" at the time, was 180 pounds soaking wet, but his processing ability and his quick release just impressed Ryan Day so much. Impressed Ryan Day Think about all the great quarterbacks that you know that Ryan Day has brought through this program. Think of C.J. Stroud. What do you think of C.J. Stroud? What did you think of C.J. Stroud as a Buckeye? Julian Sain is surpassing him. You just heard Ian say C.J. Stroud was 68% completion percentage through his first 5 games. Julian Sain is at 80% with more touchdowns, same amount of interceptions, but more touchdowns, right? That's, you can't directly compare those stats knowing who was on the team, the receivers he was throwing to, all those things. But still, the fact that Julian Sain is doing what he's doing, watch out, man. Ian said it perfectly. I can't say it any better than that. But, man, just get ready for some amazing football the next 2 years for sure out of these Buckeyes. And try to let this sink in. Julian Sain will be our quarterback next year. That is insane. And we'll still have Jeremiah Smith. Okay? So watch out, everybody. Guys, amazing show. Ian, hell of a job, bro. This was a fire show, dude. I'm excited. You seem super comfortable, really good at processing and giving information to everybody in the chat. I'm sure they absolutely loved it. So excited to get you back on here sometime next week. Talk about some more Buckeye football. Any closing statements, Ian?
Nah, I just again want to thank you for the opportunity. This has been a lifelong dream of mine to make content about the Buckeyes, and somehow I stumbled upon it. Right, it just happened. We didn't plan it. I tapped into a live show one day, and here I am talking ball with Dev. Right, who would have thought?
Yeah.
So I want to appreciate everybody in the chat. I hope I did well. I'm gonna continue to work on my craft, take tips from Devin, continue to take this seriously. I want to bring y'all a show because I just search for content on the Buckeyes all day. I just want to hear people talk about my football team in a professional way, but in a way where we can just chill and talk ball as well, right? But know they stuff. So this is what I do, and hopefully I was able to provide that same feeling to y'all. I've interacted with a lot of you guys, and again, I'm super thankful. God bless and go Bucks.
Yeah, for sure, man. We've always told you, Buckeye boys, we're a fan show. We just chilling. We a couple of fans on here that absolutely love the Buckeyes. We tell you, if you got something to say, come on the show, right? This opportunity came up. Ian's killing it. He's going to continue to kill it. So if you got something to say, man, when we put that link in the chat, hit that thing. Come on here. We're a couple fans. We're dudes just like y'all. Females too. Fans just like y'all. I'll say that, right? That's all we are. We're super passionate about the Buckeyes. We love the community here. We love you guys in the chat. On that note, hit the like button for us. Hit the subscribe button. And do us a favor, man. Go to the Buckeye Scoop message board. If you have not got on the Buckeye Scoop message board and subscribe there, man, I'm telling you, you need to do it. I'm not saying it because I'm streaming on their channel. I was on that message board way before I ever started YouTube. And there is a lot of good stuff on there. A lot of great football minds. It's a family environment, so go check them out. But on that note, Buckeye Nation, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
I-O. Peace.